Kero Kero Bonito are a group formed in the UK with this delightful blend of synth pop and J-pop and bubblegum bass. They dropped their debut project Bonito Generation back in 2016, which was like the most lovable, charismatic sugar rush of a pop album. It was full of infectious hooks and synth melodies. Sarah's vocal deliveries on that thing were like the most captivatingly endearing thing ever, and it's grown on me a lot since its initial release. But they followed that up with the Totep EP, which took more of a lo-fi indie rock direction, which I liked. I just wish that it was a little bit more substantive, fleshed out, but I guess at the end of the day, how much can you really do in only 11 minutes? And when the lead single for that, Only Acting, came out, I was pretty excited seeing as that track's arrangement was so impressive. It starts off with this warm bass line, some very sharp percussion, a wall of hi-hats, these twangy guitar licks. There are some glitchy sound effects placed strategically in the middle and end of the track, and then in the chorus it erupts into this heavier rock groove that totally bangs. Now this album kind of rolls with what we got a taste of on Totep. There's much more live instrumentation. The thick bass lines and crisp percussion work very nicely alongside its blissful synth chords. There are elements of twee pop, noise pop, power pop, and generally just a moodier edge as seen in the lyrics and overall aesthetic. There is a darker twist to the lyrics here and more variation in song topics, but in a lot of areas it seems like there's not much strategy behind what the group is doing on that front. And while this direction isn't necessarily a bad idea in theory, it does come across as a bit lukewarm in execution to me because there's not much passion or kick to Sarah's vocals to back up the heavier, more dismal tone that they're going for. I think Bonito Generation was great because everything felt very in harmony with each other, whereas this doesn't feel nearly as deliberate or confident, but I still respect what the group tried to do on a good handful of tracks here, like on Time Today, where Sarah's talking about the concept of needing to get stuff done on a day-to-day basis and the difference between what she sets out to do and actually ends up doing, while also just kind of questioning the greater purpose of it all. That's all against various breezy synth chords and sound effects and a consistent kick-snare pattern. I still do think this track's instrumental could have been more satisfying on the whole, though. I think subtle additions like the atmospheric background vocals on Make Believe help the track feel as complete as it possibly can and not nearly as limp and lifeless as a lot of other tracks here. And I like the fact that this track is about just wanting to go back to when things were easier, or just to feel innocent and weightless to some capacity. It's something that I think the group tried to make a more consistent part of this album, but just didn't really pull off to the extent that they wanted to. It's something that I think Flyway runs with pretty well, though, as it's describing birds flying south for the winter, and Sarah's describing how she wishes she could go with them and be free like they are. It uses a shoegaze-like wall of sound over fluttering synth chords and a guitar groove in the center that ties it all together pretty well. Its piercing weight kind of reminds me of Outside, a noisy cut dominated by crushing guitars, a thick bass line, some whimsical synths. Then there's a guitar breakdown and a shimmery outro. It's pretty loose in structure, but definitely works as the opener and makes me interested to hear more. And where it comes in the album, I appreciate how minimal and lax If I'd Known is. I think Rest Stop is similar, but more distinctly experimental and joltingly noisy in that second half, and I love the fact that that closes the album out. However, there are some problems here. There are some tracks that I could not extract meaning from if my life depended on it, and just feel really out of the blue and like they're trying to come across as creative on a surface level, but then there's just nothing to unpack, like on Dump or Visiting Hours. And that track and Swimming, where they come in the album, have structures and sonic palettes that are just so predictable and tired by the time we get to them. And no offense, but I don't really know how anyone can listen to Sometimes and not just want to like throw up or turn off music forever. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad, but it's still pretty gross and sticks out as not even fitting into the album in the first place, so I don't know why it's here. But on the whole, there were some cool moments on this album, but it's not really pushed nearly to the extent that I wish it was. So I'm feeling like a 6 on this thing. It's not bad. Check it out if you like Bonito Generation, I suppose, but yeah, nowhere near that level for me. So yeah, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll see you shortly with another video about what the fuck I'm doing with my channel after this. So yeah, love you, bye.